And it'll start it. And he's like, there it is. Hey, we're live.
How's my hair look?
It's perfect.
Thank you.
It's so pretty. It's so shiny.
Hey, everybody in the chat. Y'all are talking. Did something happen today?
Right. Just been sitting here watching the chat go crazy while we've been getting ready to get our asses
Nerds.
in here. I know.
Nerds everywhere. I love it. Yes.
Oh, yeah. By the way, that's our special guest. It is
Hi.
Fett. That is correct.
How do I open the chat on my screen? I'm afraid to touch anything because I have a curse,
On
which
the
is
right
ruining
side.
technology.
On the right side, do you see where it says private chat and comments?
I'm on my phone, so I see a
have
chat
I
no
box
have
at
no
the bottom.
idea on a phone.
I'm going to push a button. Let's find out what happens.
Cool.
Uh-oh. Wait, I can
Nothing.
still hear you. But I can't. Okay, well, I don't see anything. That's all right.
Okay.
That's awesome. I don't know about y'all, but I had the day off today because I was like post Disneyland haze, and
Oh, we've all been there.
Oh, I know. But like
You bougie
everything,
bitch.
I woke up today. I'm like, okay, Acolyte gets started in 8 hours. Okay, and then I checked the time. Acolyte gets started in 7 hours 23 minutes. Like the countdown. And then it came, and I watched it, and here we are. And it was I literally wasted my entire day. Well, it wasn't a waste, but I spent my entire day thinking about Acolyte, and then watching the Acolyte, and now we're here. And I'm like, what do I do with my life now?
We talk about Acolyte here on this show. We introduce the show so that we can talk about Acolyte now.
Wow.
Are you ready? Because I'm going to do
ready.
that.
Let's do it.
I'm so ready.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Divas Unleashed, the video version of our audio podcast, Dark Side Divas, where I, a woman, and Chris, the gay man, I can never figure out which side is which on the screen. Anyway, we express our opinions about Star Wars, and that's what we're going to do today with a special guest. Ever so special. My name is Stephanie. I'm the woman half of the show. There we go.
And hey, everybody. I'm Chris. I'm a homo Vernestra Row. What happened to you? Sexual. And I don't have anything to quote because I'm still like, what the fuck?
Right.
And yeah. And we're joined by a special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Chris, and my handle is Boba Fett.
Yeah.
It is true.
Also, Vernestra, what the fuck?
What the fuck?
See,
what happened to you?
I stopped reading the High Republic books when everybody was still alive and happy for the most part.
That's fair.
So like halfway through the second one.
Yeah, halfway through the second adult book, right?
Yeah, we did read Into the Dark for the podcast during the strikes. But yeah, I got through halfway through the second one, and I sensed impending doom, and I was like, if I stop here, everybody's fine, and I can headcanon the rest of it. So I've actually never met young Vernestra Row. So this is my first time encountering her, and she's about what I expect from the Jedi Council.
Someone's not familiar with one of my favoriteest TikToks. Whatever. Yeah, and that's kind of
find Boba Fett. She's on the TikTok. She's on the Instagram.
Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah,
I'm on the TikTokies.
Yeah, I'm just completely aghast by Vernestra Row. The years of politicking in the Jedi Order has certainly corrupted her.
It's literally, we were talking about this before we went live. It's been 100 years. It's been 100 years. Some shit has gone down, not the least of which was apparently she had a Padawan turn evil.
This is not the first time that's happened to her, though, either.
I know.
This would be her second Padawan yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
So again, maybe the theme of the show is what the fuck Vernestra?
What the fuck
Vernestra?
Yeah, so the Acolyte is done. We may or may not get season 2. There's lots of information and news and rumors running wild. I suspect Disney will, or Lucasfilm will announce something in a couple months, but
I feel like the show really wants to have a season 2.
The show really wants a season 2.
All the little duckies in a row to launch into a season 2 if Disney will just say yes. So
we'll see. So I get to start off with, what did y'all think of the episode? Because I don't know.
I have mixed feelings about it, if I'm being honest. Lots of mixed feelings. I don't know how I feel about it being a season, it's definitely a season finale because it's not tying up a story, which I expected, but also you can't just throw Plagueis in there like that and then be like, hey, bye. We might not get another season.
Plagueis is only significant to people who would recognize Plagueis.
That's true. That's fair.
That's not everybody.
But he's such a specific looking. Is it a
right?
mun
Like
or a moon
I
or whatever he
recognized
is?
him. I have never.
Yeah.
He's a moon. Moon. Yeah, I mean, I recognized him because I've seen the art, but I've never read a Plagueis anything. I've only heard his name spoken by Sidious while manipulating Anakin. Like, I don't know what his fucking deal is. So, I mean, I had to stop. I had made my husband pause the show so I could Google Darth Plagueis and like, oh yeah, that's him. Yeah, it's straight off of the art.
There was a lot of stuff I felt like they put in there that was directly to mega lore nerds.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of really amazing things this episode, and there was a lot of things that I feel were a little McClunky, if you will.
That's been kind of the theme for almost every episode of this season.
Yeah.
Some of it's a little prequelsy.
Yeah.
That's what I've been saying, is that it's consistent with the prequels. All these people that are like, oh my god, the writing in the show is terrible, but then I see that they praised Attack of the Clones, Phantom Menace, Revenge of the Sith, and I'm like, are you on
you okay?
drugs? Yeah, are you okay?
It's almost like saying the writing is bad doesn't actually mean the writing is bad. Saying the writing is bad just means I don't like that there are all these girls talking.
The writing is actually very good for the show. It's actually
good for the show.
The execution may not be so fantastic with some of the acting and whatnot. However, Star Wars has always been real corny with its acting. So I give it some leeway.
And that's why I love it.
That. I mean, yeah. But the writing itself and weaving the story together has been really good so far. With exceptions, I do feel like in the finale, it still needs to marinate in here for me to have full flesh thoughts, which I'll probably have tomorrow when I make my review video. But like, yeah, I don't know. There are some threads that they didn't connect that I thought that they were going to, and I'm sure they will if there is a second season.
Ultimately,
I don't know. Yeah.
Ultimately, I liked the episode. I didn't love it,
right?
But I liked it because I like Star Wars, and this was a Star Wars episode. And so it worked for me on that level. I liked it. I liked, and taking it as a piece with the whole season so far, I can see how sitting down and binge watching The Acolyte would be amazing.
Yes.
I feel like the episodes kind of suffered for the wait in between.
It did.
I do feel that this show needed 4 more episodes.
That as well.
Yeah.
Or longer episodes.
And a lot
or
less
longer
shirts.
episodes, yeah.
Because 8 episodes would have been fine if you had made each episode at least 45 minutes longer.
Yeah.
Also, fewer pants.
Also, we could
less
just
clothing. Let's just make it
spend
not
the next
family
4
friendly
episodes
at all.
removing pieces of clothing strategically from certain people.
Oh, by the way, you're watching a Divas podcast show, by the way. So we are going to be thirsting over characters. We're still in the digestion of new Star Wars phase right now. Like this is our fresh.
If you're not going to thirst over Chimera, I just that's. My husband even saw I've been watching a lot of edits on repeat, and my husband was like, "Yeah, okay, I get it." So and he's like,
well, it's not
possibly the straightest man I've ever met in my life, and he's like, "Oh, I get it."
No, that all tracks. That all makes sense. So, in answer to your question, Chris, I liked the episode. I enjoyed it.
I think I liked it too. I still need to think about it. Now, I couldn't help but immediately start headcanning Plagueis' presence on the show.
Instantly. Yeah.
Because, hello, he's there. So, am I to believe that he just likes to watch and he was watching the whole time? And if he does like to watch, is he watching Camille take a bath in the ocean all the time?
Who wouldn't?
I would.
I mean, who wouldn't? Right? Assuming there's consent.
Quality entertainment. All right.
So Plagueis is a dirty bird, is what we're saying.
I think tying Plagueis to this, because understand that in 100 years, Plagueis is dead, and his acolyte is taking over the galaxy.
Yay! He was a great teacher.
Clearly, Darth Plagueis the Wise was an excellent teacher. So, but I feel like my immediate headcanon, and this will evolve over time, I'm sure, was that Chimere, the stranger, was Plagueis is his master. Mm-hmm. And so he wants to recruit the power of 2, the Mayosha of it all. to come and be his pupil so that they can kill Plagueis.
Right.
Because that's a very Sith thing to do. But I don't know, because the Stranger is like no other Sith we've met.
That's true.
I mean,
and I'm not just saying because he's cute. Okay, Maul is right there. Okay,
it's one thing to be cute, right? But it's another thing to have that swagger, right?
So
like the swagger is what gets me about him. So, and yeah, like he could. Palpatine will never be attractive to me, and part of that is the costumes he had to wear in Phantom Menace. Like I still can't get over the horrible hair and the outfits they put him in. But he did have that he did have some swagger. Like he was allowed to at least like demonstrate his manipulative talents, but it was still very like petri dish shallow level. Kamir is like a different level of manipulation, and
he's legitimately the seduction part of the dark side. Like he is supposed to be. It's like, and I had mentioned in a video that he is biblical Lucifer vibes, big time.
Ooh,
yes, he is the dark fallen angel, here to convince you that it's really not that bad. Okay, it's just propaganda. People say bad things, but it's really not. It's not.
We're really not that bad.
It's not that bad.
We're really not that bad.
But my husband and I were talking about like how different he is from other Sith as far as how he treats his pupil. Right? Plagueis wants the twins. Yeah. There you go. That's God. Yeah. What if the Stranger? What if Kamir was sent by Plagueis to fetch them for that? Like it's all been a plot the whole time. Anyway.
My favorite thing about that is the amount of heads are going to explode.
Well, because
on the hater.
Because Plagueis had to learn how to create life from women, as though perhaps women haven't always cornered the market on the creation of life.
Weird.
Correct. Especially if it's women of color. Oh boy.
I'm just saying, I have a fully functioning uterus and I have put it to its intended use twice.
Same.
See?
Also twice. Yeah.
I'm unable to.
Because you don't have a uterus.
Because I don't have one. Because I recognize.
Getting back to the
power.
point I was trying to make before I got distracted by like the womb of it all. So we've seen the way that other Sith handle their acolytes, their students. Sidious is awful. Incredibly manipulative, emotionally manipulative, fucks with Vader's head a lot. We saw how Dooku trained Savage Opress, which was all pain all the time because Savage was an animal. And we never saw Sidious training Maul, but we did see Sidious punishing Maul for daring to stand against him. And he punished Dooku. It was always brutal. And we saw how Dooku handled Ventress, which is an incredibly abusive relationship.
Yes.
But then and then you see how Kamir handled May, which is he definitely treated her as the disappointment child. Yeah. The one who was like a poor replacement for the one that he actually wanted. He was really awful to her when he was dealing with her as her master. But then the way he is with Osha is so much softer and so much hotter. And he treats her almost like an equal. Yeah. And like he's luring her into a partnership, not a disciplehood under him. And our last shot of them is them standing shoulder to shoulder, hand in hand, gazing out into the sunset. But what I love about that shot, we are having two very different reactions to standing here holding hands watching the sunset, right? Kamir is in the moment, man. He's like, this is great. This is what I wanted. I will now gaze into this sunset and live this dream. She hates him. Mm-hmm. The look on her face read loathing to me, like barely keeping it contained. I hate touching him. Oh my God. And like, that's going to be enemies to lovers realness. We need a season 2. Pardon me. I ship it real hard. Hello, Mr. Big Bets.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely. I think now one thing I absolutely loved was the whole lightsaber battle with Soul. That was amazing. And then to see in live action a Kyber crystal get bled.
Unintentionally, too.
Unintentionally.
Like she wasn't even trying. There was just so much rage.
So good.
She's so
that,
angry.
That
wiggle right in between the two of them. That's what I want. I just I feel like it should be allowed. Just right in between Osha and Kamir.
I do think Amanda. I forgot her last name. Yeah. Somebody in chat earlier said that she deserves an Emmy nom. I actually thought she did a spectacular job acting. Some of the best acting I've ever seen in a Star Wars. She portrayed two very different characters that cannot possibly be easy, and she made it look effortless. And I am on her side. May and Osha can do no wrong, but my heart broke for May at the end. Having no memories, being lectured by Vernestra, who was in the middle of her covering everything up, conspiracy. I was like, wow, that breaks my heart. Like, this girl did not get any real support. Like, because I'm sorry, being brought up by a Sith to be trained is not going to be a great childhood.
No.
Whereas Osha had the Jedi, and I'm sure, and we've well documented on our podcast stuff that maybe the Jedi aren't the best at raising children sometimes, but it's probably preferable to being trained by a Sith. And
probably
Osha still got to go off and like do whatever she wanted when she decided not to be a Jedi anymore. So like, I just May is a tragic story for me for this show. I felt so bad for her.
I mean, yeah, and that's another reason to want a season 2, because I'd like to see her story resolve.
Yeah.
How upset do you think people are going to be that now there is forced memory erasure? Has that happened before? Because I can't think of it.
Off the top of my head, I can't think of it. I want to say that it has, or that it has been mentioned that it's a possibility. They did mention earlier in the season. I want to say it was when they first met Chimere. I think he said something about erasing memories. Somebody said something about erasing memories early in the season.
See, now I just got to rewatch the whole thing.
Yeah, and it's
episode 6 a few times.
Knowing, I actually have a video in my drafts right now about special abilities, and like so the Force is not a monolith, right? Each individual, the dark side and the light side, has their specialties, and like Quinlan Vos being able to touch objects and see the memory of that object and see what happened, or whoever held that object and what was going on, or my child's name, Ezra. Jesus, took me a minute. I'm really tired. Sorry, it's late for me. Ezra being able to communicate with animals and like being able to...
Or Avar Chris being able to network all the Jedi in an area.
Yeah, the Song of the Force. And so it is totally reasonable to assume that a dark side user could do something like that, to jumble memories, to put false memories in there, to erase memories. It is definitely... It makes sense to me that would be...
I mean, if you can convince somebody that that's not the droids they're looking for, then why not? Why not be able to take it on another level?
Good call.
It's very similar.
That's
the
true.
father did wipe Anakin's memory, so there is a Force.
Oh, that's
power
right.
There it is. Only by like
I forgot about that
itself.
That's like literally one of the most important plot points. Thank you.
That's why we keep the chat around, man, because they're smarter than us. There are helper brains. Love them.
Okay, so next question: did the season end well? I think going into this, I was expecting that this was going to be a one-season show, a very tight mystery story that was going to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Clearly, that's not the case. And so I don't know how I feel about the ending of the season. So what about y'all?
Well, I feel like with the Jedi selling Soul out, throwing him under the bus and blaming him for all of everything, which I saw coming, and so did Chimere. He saw that shit coming too. They tied up the mystery of this season, and they tied up the mystery of the name of the show, which is the Acolyte, and that's Osha. And it always had been. Like, even May said, you've always wanted to do this, and I'm not going to stop you this time. So she's always wanted to be trained in the Force. She just could never get rid of her darkness, and the Jedi can't hang with that. So now she found somebody who tells her it's okay to be like that. So I feel like they tied that up, but they also very deliberately planted seeds for there to be more.
Yeah, Chris, what do you think?
I'm trying to mull it over while you guys were talking too. Okay, I feel I wasn't expecting there to be such a wide open, obvious lead into a season 2.
Right.
And I feel like I have to watch it again to get a firm feeling about how I feel about the last episode in that regard. Yeah, I don't know. They did tie up some things, and then other things. And I'm so worried that if we don't get a season 2, that we won't get to know. I mean, I'm sure they'll put it in a book or a comic book or something,
We'll get a
but I
book,
want to
we'll get
see
a
it in live
comic.
action.
Right.
Because like the fight choreography was really great, especially the
so
fight
good.
choreography. Like it was really excellent. And man, that Kyber crystal scene was neat.
Yeah, I need a Khmer Vern lightsaber fight. I need that lightsaber whip to go.
Like that is 100% being set up, and like that's why.
Yeah,
they're really kind of, I think, counting on us, the fans, to clamor for season 2. To put that out there that we want season 2. We want that fight. We want Vern versus Khmer. We want to see what happens with fucking Plagueis. Resolve that, please. Tell me why you gave us him for 2 seconds. Like, there's a lot of stuff. But what's interesting about this, because this was always billed as the Sith show, right? I'm not interested. I find myself uninterested in the Jedi side of the story, other than as it pertains to May. I don't care. I know what y'all's fucking trajectory is. I can see a line directly from where you are now having a meeting with goddamn Yoda straight all the way through to Order 66. I see that path. It's very clear, and I'm uninterested. I'm fascinated by what's going on with Khmer, Plagueis, and Osha. I need to know what's up with all of that. So give me season 2.
I love Ernestra a lot. I know, Steph, you haven't had a chance to ride with her. She's awesome.
I am lukewarm towards her. She seems like a bureaucrat to me.
Now, which is like, for me, it's still the biggest heartbreak for me. But this episode, I did get to see a peek on the what's happening with the politics side, because in the High Republic books, especially right now in Phase 3, slight spoiler, y'all, but there is like a trying to figure out what is the relationship with the Jedi and the Republic, right? So, 100 years later, now there are senators that are like, the Jedi have too much power. They're fucking up too much. They need to be investigated. And so it's like, okay, what has happened in the last 100 years that brought senators to that point?
Right.
And I do think that's interesting. And I would love to see more of that, because that's at the stage. That's at the stage for what's going to happen in the Phantom Menace.
So you want to know what happened before?
A little bit, but more so like, how is this like this existential threat of the Jedi being able to maintain some kind of independence?
That ended the second they stepped in with the conflict with the Nihil.
Oh, sure, but they don't.
They ended their independence in that moment.
But I for me, a story is most interesting with the journey, not necessarily the end or the beginning. It's the journey itself. So I just want to know more about that journey, like where. That's like fair. What other things happened that got more senators to go, yo, these Jedi, they got to be regulated a little bit.
The chat would like to point out to you, dear, that there is no politics in Star Wars.
My bad. I'm sorry.
So set that shit aside. We keep politics out of Star Wars, okay?
Right. Okay. You're right.
Very specifically. There's not any. Never mind that half of the name is war.
It's not called Star Wars.
Yeah. It's Star not politics.
I have to say, side note, I've stayed off of social media for the past couple of days. I'm really not looking forward to stepping my toes back in and finding out what people are going to be bitching about this episode. I can tell you they're
going to be bitching about Plagueis. They're going to be bitching about the memory erasure. They're going to be bitching about the way that she spontaneously, unintentionally bled a Kyber crystal, regardless of the fact that that's fucking cool.
It's rad as shit. It's also accurate to lore, by the way. It is. So
there you go. And by they, I do mean the fandom menace, the kind of Star Wars fans who just hate new things that have girls and people of color and the LGBTQ in it. They hate that a lot. They're going to be very upset about Plagueis learning about the secret of life from female Force practitioners.
God.
They'll also be really mad about Yoda.
Yes, and how all we got. Do you think they're going to be mad that we only got a cameo at the back of his head for 2 seconds, or that we got it at all?
It'll be
both.
Yes, of course.
I bet we'll even get both from the same person.
Probably.
I have to share a story though that was super cool. So yeah, I was at Disneyland yesterday. Big shock. I was at Oga's. It was an hour and a half till closing, so people were starting to leave. It was nighttime, and there was this guy at the bar next to me who's just bitching about, oh, they made the Star Wars Land, the sequel trilogy. It sucks. Disney sucks. Blah,
then
blah.
Leave. Get out of the cantina.
I'm like,
go
dude, you're wearing
else.
you have like Mickey Mouse ears on. Okay, you're fucking not following the script. And he had these little kids there, and they're like,
Oh my
Dad,
God.
we want to go on the rides. We don't want to sit here watch you drink. And he's just like bitching. And I was obviously getting annoyed. And I was like, okay, I'm going to pay my tab and leave.
Right.
So it happens he paid his tab and left too. So we got at the same time. His little kids finally got a glance at the Falcon, and they ran up to it, and they were so excited. And they were like, apparently the mom and the dad were having just issues getting the kids to stay still for any pictures whatsoever the whole day. And that was very frustrating for the mom. This time the kids were like, Mom, Dad, let's take a picture together. Like, it was their idea.
Nice.
And they get up, and there was a cast member there taking pictures for people. And they took their picture. I saw the man cry. He was literally bawling because his kids were just like so into it. And I'm like, see, that's what's going to happen a couple years from now. These kids that are watching all these Star Wars, including Acolyte, are going to love it. This is their Star Wars. And 5-10 years from now, this shit's going to get celebrated because that's what happened with the prequel trilogy. And that's what these bigots and haters don't seem to understand.
It's the same cycle over and over. And there's going to be a new crop of bigots and haters. Like, I mean,
and somebody pointed
like poetry.
out too,
it rhymes.
Yeah. And somebody pointed out too, and I mean, I say too young when I'm 40, but I'm too young to remember when Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi came out. But apparently, my brother and other people who were around for it have said that there was discourse about those too.
Oh, yeah.
Like when Lando got cast in it, there's like legitimate, there were like segments in magazines and stuff speaking ill about Billy D. Williams being in it because he was black. Like it's been since the original trilogy, people have behaved this way. It's so disappointing.
I've got this. I'm going to hold it up to the screen like a dumbass. You can't tell what it is, but this is from a Star Wars fanzine published after Empire Strikes Back came out. And I don't have my reading glasses on because I'm old, so I can't really see it. But it's all the same fucking language. They're like, we can't keep publishing this zine because we feel like they broke Star Wars with Empire Strikes Back. They broke Star Wars, and they actually use turns of phrase. They actually use turns of phrase in here like shoving this down our throats, and I do believe at that point they are talking about Lando. They're shoving this diversity essentially down our throats and stuff. I'm going to post this on social so people can read it because they've always been like this.
Yeah, they've always been like this.
Their toxic Star Wars fans have always been like this. And it's like, they're never going to change. We're not changing hearts and minds when we fight them. And when I engage with them online, I know I'm not going to change their minds. But what I hope I'm doing, and Chris, not you, Chris, this Chris,
cool Chris.
Smart, pretty Chris. What you and I do, I feel, when we engage and mock the bigots publicly on the internet, is we're letting other fans know that they are not all like that. That's not the whole fucking fandom. There is actually a safe space in this fandom. It's called my comment section or our podcast.
That's not a safe space for bigots,
our Patreon. It's not my comment section is not safe for bigots.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's why I started doing the Master Chud Theater segment, which I still...
Oh my God.
Because it's like, that's also the only language that they understand is being mocked, honestly. So I'm going to do it to show them how ridiculous they sound.
Well, honestly, it's like negative reinforcement, right? Like they only respond to negative stuff anyway, so...
Yeah.
Honestly, I think they just want us to step on their necks, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
let's
get back to this episode.
The show overall, actually... if you can kind of think about all the episodes, what surprised you the most about the show?
Two things surprised me the most. One, that they went full dark romance with the seduction of the dark side. And I think that's what happens when you get Star Wars written by women, is you get beautiful things like that. But the other thing is that they actually went there with the arc with Soul, where they start him off as this wonderful, sweet, kind, absolutely lovable Qui-Gon Jinn figure. And then over time, as we learn more and more about him, we realize that that's just who he really wanted to be, and who he was trying so hard to be. But, he had this whole villain arc, and he was the worst kind of villain, which is the kind that thinks he was right. And doesn't realize until he's literally gasping his last that maybe you were wrong, dude, and maybe you actually broke these children with what you did, and etc. I didn't think they'd actually fully go there. But once
he literally kept saying, I did the right thing. And I'm like, but you didn't.
Up until he had her invisible hand around his throat, he insisted he did the right thing. And I really feel like the fact that they went there, like once I saw them going there, once I started to see, oh no, Saul's arrogance wrecked that whole coven. Like that was his arrogant assumption that he could raise these children better than their own mother could. That caused that entire tragedy. I was like, you know what? I wonder if they'll actually close the deal on that and sell him out. And they did. And I was like, that really, it surprised me. I mean, I didn't think they would actually have the Jedi go there, but they did. They did.
Chris, what about you?
I don't know how much surprising me necessarily, but watching everybody fuck up constantly. Like everybody kept fucking up. So you keep taking these misunderstandings and these misinterpretations and your own point of view and not saying anybody else's, and then you just keep stumbling forward and wreaking havoc. Like there's very few characters in the show that didn't massively royally screw up because they were only focusing on their point of view. I mean, Soul obviously being
Kamir never did anything wrong in his life.
Never.
And neither did Jackie. Kamir and Jackie are always right.
I would be so screwed if that was the Sith they sent for me. I'd be like, oh no.
I would fold like a wet napkin.
That's. I guess I'm a Sith now.
We're all
just like
now.
But everybody, even Indara had to, and it was one of those things where she had to choose the lesser evil, where it was, we're going to now lie about this to protect Osha because of your screw up. And everybody's had to do that. Now Vernestra has to do that because what is she supposed to do? And she doesn't even have the full story either. She has some sense, obviously, when she was sensing what happened in that area. Mostly it was just what Soul had done. She had to, and I don't know, and I'm not clear on that. I don't know if she actually believes that Soul killed his company on Kofar, or if she's selling it because that's what everybody else believes. I'm not sure. I need to watch it again to see.
As soon as she sensed Kamir's presence, she knew who was behind Kofar.
Oh, duh, right. Yes. Okay.
But Soul being dead became a very convincing and convenient fall guy.
Oh, see, and now it's going to turn into Vernestra trying to tie up her loose end, and
because now she's got to. Now she needs to use May to hunt him down.
God damn it! Yeah. See, it's the stumbling and the constant fuck ups. That's what this.
If they had just been honest, if they had just been honest from the beginning, then none of this would have happened. And I think that's one thing that's actually really difficult for people with this show. I've seen a lot of people really struggling with the idea that the Jedi were not perfect heroes. And like,
no,
they've never been. But this was also a struggle for people with The Last Jedi, to see that Luke Skywalker wasn't, magnificent hero Luke Skywalker forever and ever, that he was actually like a broken old man who had made mistakes and had regrets, and would, if he could relive parts of his life, he would. Like that was really, really difficult for people. And so those people were not going to be able to handle the Acolyte. Now that, having watched this whole season, no, they were never going to be able to handle this.
Yeah, I've noticed that there's a lot of people who have issues with finding fault with the Jedi, and that's always been frustrating to me, because since I was a kid, I've always had issues with aspects of the Jedi. And I mean, that's also kind of the point, I think, because Luke in the original trilogy, I don't know, like, I think it's always been there. They're not supposed to be perfect, impervious, knowing.
Obi-Wan says that in the first fucking movie.
Yeah. Yes.
Like it's established right away. Like Obi-Wan's
what does Obi-Wan say?
Well, no, he's when he's trying to explain to Luke, like, yeah, your dad was a great pilot, and we were great. Everything was awesome. And Clone Wars happened, and then the rise of the Empire, and we fucked up. Like we're non-existent now.
Right. And like, that should be like, obviously the Jedi fuck up. They all, for the most part, want to be good guys.
Yeah, and a lot of them are.
They fuck up. The Jedi Order as a whole didn't notice Sidious. That's kind of a big oopsie,
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Arguably their biggest oopsie.
Yeah. The one that led to their genocide. That one? Yeah.
Like Anakin showing up to Mace Windu like, hey, You know how you're like the dark side surrounding the Chancellor, and we've been suspecting this for like fucking years.
Right.
He's the Sith Lord. I know that's like really obvious and
Shocking.
crazy, but like that's what happened. I don't know.
I just go ahead.
So my biggest surprise was the mention of the hyperspace disaster. I was shocked. I was shooketh. I was like, the whole fucking reason why this story is even happening is because this planet got fucked up by the hyperspace disaster and then it regrew itself in a very short amount of time.
What? I feel like it would have happened without the hyperspace disaster because that Vergence was on the planet in the first place. Yeah. And I feel like the Coven would have found it without but the hyperspace disaster is why the Jedi found the Coven.
Right. The Coven would have found it.
That's what you mean. Okay.
Yeah. But the Coven would have been left alone. And the Jedi are like, hey, this planet got wasted by the Nihil a long time ago, but there's a lot of trees and plants. It's really pretty right now. So let's check that shit out. And that starts the whole thing.
Interesting to sit down with somebody who has no frame of reference for the High Republic and see what they thought of this. Because, like, what does it look like? Like, how did you feel the first time you saw a row of a dozen people lighting up lightsabers and it wasn't to fight droids? You know?
Right.
Like, that was probably pretty dope. But you probably also didn't think they would all die. Did you? Like, you thought, you looked at this and you saw that it was so brightly lit and there were so many lightsabers. You thought this was like a prequel era thing? Well, the prequel era also killed off like 100 Jedi in one scene. So
yeah, my God, it was crazy.
Yeah,
it was just crazy. Yeah. So y'all may have noticed we have haters showing up in our chat, which is actually giving me life right now, and I'm loving that. So
I'm watching. I'm texting Chris like, "Hey, kick so and so."
I'm already doing it.
But if you haven't done so already, for Master Shut Theater.
Yeah, please thumbs up our video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already. Would appreciate your help with that. In case
our patrons get to hang out with us and watch our live recordings of our podcast, and so there's a little bit of a like, who are these kids from not our school in the chat room right now? This is a public live show that's going on right now, and we did publicly announce it. And I did get some haters on my Instagram saying, "No, I would never watch that." So hopefully they're here and they're boosting the views. So
thank you.
Thanks.
So what was your favorite moment of the show?
The show as a whole?
As a whole, yeah.
I mean,
that's not Khmer shirtless. How about that?
Are we eliminating the Khmer shirtless swimming scene?
We're going to eliminate the obvious answer.
Fine.
Sorry.
Okay, I have a few. Okay, but I have two, and it does involve Khmer, but it's not what you think. Kind of. Okay, so one of the things I really liked about that scene with them is that when he aggroes Osha to come after him, and he waits for her to touch him, and then he very gently touches her arm. I was like, hi. But I liked that even if it wasn't supposed to be sexy at all. I still liked that moment. It was very well choreographed. And then because it's so fresh in my mind, the Kyber crystal, the bleeding of the Kyber crystal in real time in live action was probably one of the coolest things I've seen in Star Wars.
When she ignited it and then it changed color right before their eyes.
Yeah. That was really cool.
Dope. That was a chills moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was my favorite moment. I have to rewatch the show, but watching the Kyber crystal get bled on live action and all of it happened in real time. The only other experience I have for that is, playing. There was a video game that came out recently, Star Wars 1, where an NPC did that, and it was very immediate and like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you just knew how to do that. Okay, and they were the villain of the game, so it was like, okay, well, I didn't realize it was that effortless if you're already full of hate and anger, and we get to see it now in a show. So that was really cool. I agree.
Really cool. Okay, so Chimera aside, honestly, I think because it's the thing that sold me, that hooked me on the whole show, was the opening fight between May and Endara.
Yeah.
When Endara railed the stairs, I was like, oh, it's that kind of Jedi fight. Okay, this is some Crouching Tiger, Hidden Jedi action going on here. That's what I was like. Everything this show does from here on out, as long as they keep doing that, I'm fine with. because
that was really good.
That's how the fight should be.
Well, when you fight Trinity, you gotta fucking bust out all the moves, right?
If you're gonna cast Trinity, you better use Trinity. But no, it looked like fucking magic, and it should be. Fighting a Jedi should feel like fighting an extremely calm wizard. Like I'm sweating, I am huffing and puffing and throwing knives here, and you just danced up a banister right in front of me. Like, God damn it!
I'm on a Stairmaster and I can't even fucking breathe right.
Third favorite moment, because the first one is definitely everything involving Chimere. There's a moment, I think it's episode 3, 2, doesn't matter. They're gonna trap May. Like, they're gonna catch her when she's going to go kill Torben. And they're all planning it. They're like coming up with the plan, and Yord is like, here is the plan. I have an amazing plan, and here it is. I've laid it out. And then Jackie's like, or we could just do this other plan that's a lot simpler.
Yeah.
And Sol is like, Jackie, we're going with your plan. The look on Yord's face behind him, where he's just like, he looks like Kronk just got told his spinach puffs don't taste good. He's just, oh. And that's not the favorite part. My favorite part is the shady Padawan next to him, who, thank you finally for showing us that there are overweight Jedi. Appreciate that. Yeah. But he stole every scene he was in with his face, and he was just like, that was amazing. So that worked for me.
Poor Pip, by the way.
He's fine. He's fine.
He got rebooted. He got erased.
He did, but now he gets to grow up and be a good droid again in the company of the light side half of the Mayosha of it all.
And actually, it worked. It worked in the long run because it's imperative that his memory was wiped now.
Yeah.
So that was actually a plot point. I just connected to, it's like a good thing that it was, because otherwise,
he was one of the first deaths of the show. It was really awful.
Pip?
Yeah. No, non-Jedi deaths, I should say. Because holy shit. Okay, so when we meet Chimere the first time and he's making her the poison, because sorry, you mentioned Emperor's Secret.
There are so many parallels.
Right, but that's when I met him in that first scene, I was like, ooh, I hope he's going to be in the show some more, not knowing that was in fact his first manipulation of me, is him making poison for me.
This just shows like how tied to vibe female gaze is, because that's the same dude. That squirrely little dude in the alchemist shop who is super hungover and like throwing together poisons and quoting the Sith code or whatever. Not hot.
Yeah.
But you change his vibe, you deepen his tone of voice, and put him beside a lake, and I will throw myself at his feet.
And his body language and his face acting is just, also the lip bite. He does that a lot.
Yeah, look, Manny Jacinto. Oh. Sir, I'm a married woman.
Yeah.
Well, that
I know, we're poly, but I don't know that he and his lady are, so. Yeah. And we've never met. That's another thing. He doesn't actually know who I am. So that's another thing that's in the way of our relationship.
I was laughing earlier on because my ex, who's also still a very good friend of mine, looks a lot like him, especially when he's being squirrely Chimere. Okay. Nice. And I was joking with him, like, oh, this guy, like, he has like some of your exact facial expressions and like the way that you like your movements. They're also both Filipino. Like, I was like, it's nice. Crazy. And then when he turned into Chimere, I was like, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but it is, you could never, like, that's not you anymore. That's not you anymore. He's different. but
You're stone cold brilliant, and I love you.
Like, and I wasn't trying to be mean, but I was like, but you could never. And like, he literally, that's also how good his acting was, because he became a completely different person.
Yeah. And it was eerie the moment he turned on Chimere's voice in the middle of like murdering Jedi and stuff. Well, he looks over at Osha and he's like, hello, don't do that.
The first time I caught it, by the way, with that voice thing, was when he says, you look just like her. The way he moved his head and said it to her, I was like, that's, and it was only for a second.
Like a snake. Yeah.
It was really good.
Yep.
Okay. Last question, and then we're gonna play a game of Fuck, Marry, Kill. But
Ooh.
other than
All right, I'm
Chimere's,
answer.
other than Chimere's arms, who is your favorite character?
Yord. It's still Yord.
The Yord Nation continues.
I can't. I love himbo so much. I just do. And I was very sad when he died. Jackie, I adore Jackie. She's like a close second there. But no, I love Yord. I love Yord. And there's a part of me that will never forgive the stranger for killing Yord.
I know.
Yord was almost safe. Damn it.
Almost.
He was almost in the clear. And then OSHA had to convince him to turn the fuck around.
Yeah. And chat,
Bless
if you have
his
a favorite
big,
too,
dumb
you go ahead and put it in chat.
They vote Jackie. I'm looking at chat right now.
You got
There's a lot of Jackie going on.
Oh, I see it lighting up in the corner.
And
Jackie's definitely one of mine, yeah. And Chimere.
Honestly,
Chimere's just amazing.
I liked so many of these characters. I really loved Indara. Particularly, I didn't love her at first. I loved her after the flashback, where we saw that she was just trying to fucking steer a ship full of incredibly emotional men.
She was trying to clean up the manspreading so hard.
She's just trying to clean up their fucking mess. And I love a competent person. And she was very competent. They were just fucking her up.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And their fuck up was contagious.
Such a mess.
Such a mess. God, what a series of unfortunate events Brendock was.
Yeah,
still,
it really was. Still,
that planet's fucking cursed.
Yeah, for me, OSHA is my favorite. OSHA and May both. I love them both. But OSHA's journey was brutal. And it was really cool to see her evolution. And now I'm afraid for her. I'm also afraid for the Jedi because I have a feeling she's going to be very powerful in the dark side of the Force. And hopefully there is going to be some kind of continuation of the story. I don't know right now. I'm hopeful that people will communicate their feelings about how much they love the show and they love to see more of it, because usually I feel Lucasfilm tries to be responsive to that for the most part, except for Solo Part 2. I'm still waiting for that to happen, but whatever. But for sure, there were a lot of characters I loved. I mean, there's really not anybody I hate.
There was no one who I saw on screen and went, okay, I'm gonna look at my phone. There was nobody who did that for me.
Yeah.
And I can't say the same for
I was wrong. My favorite character is Basil.
Basil. You got ears? Listen to how people say his name. I'm
deaf. I'm half deaf.
Bullshit. Are you going to claim that your ears are dyslexic now?
No, I'm going to say that there's this crazy person screaming in my ear twice a week, and it has damaged my ears.
That's fair.
Brain damage now.
What a bitch.
Are there any other characters that we want to talk about real quick before we get right into the game?
I do want to talk about Soul real quick. Yeah. I don't know if you can talk about Soul quickly, but what a reversal. And I feel like the reversal with him from the good guy that we all fell in love with and wanted him to be to the walking mistake that he ended up being, that I feel like that reversal is mirrored by the reversal that happened with OSHA and May.
Yeah.
Throughout. So that's this season did a really good job of mirror action, of things rhyming in the Force. And so the more we learned about Soul, the more light side May got and dark side OSHA got.
Yeah.
So that it's like OSHA's evolution towards the dark side mirrored our understanding of Soul, because that is her master. So that was really interesting and much more sophisticated characterization than I honestly expected from this show. So,
yeah, his acting, by the way, was absolutely incredible.
He
might have been the absolute best. Besides Manny, I think that I forgot what his name is. The guy that plays Soul. Those two are the best in my opinion of the entire show.
I agree.
They were fantastic. especially in this last episode, because while I have actually, I'm a Soul hater. I've actually never liked him since the first episode. I knew something was iffy. Yeah, I'm very one of those rare people that was like, I don't like you immediately. I wanted to like him because he gave me I want to like him. He seems like he's a nice person. He just gave me the ick immediately. Like, I don't trust you. You're sickeningly sweet, and I don't trust it.
I feel like that was
but his
instinct.
acting was so good.
Right. And then I think that's a credit to his acting, because he knew from the beginning what Soul's story was. And so he was able to project that sort of insecure veneer, that insecurity that lay underneath the veneer of the good Jedi. And you picked up on that because your fucking spicy brain is really good at that. So
apparently, yeah. And everyone's like, you don't like him? And I was like, I want to, and I hope I'm wrong, but I was wrong about Andara, though. But to be fair, it's because Carrie-Anne Moss is known for playing very cold characters.
Right.
So
and that's another thing they did with the show, is they tricked us with the casting a lot.
Yes.
Like casting her, who's known for playing Snow Queens, as this character who just wants to get the fucking job done and done right. And can we go?
And can we please not kill people?
Can you just sit down and not? That's his speeder bike. He's gone. Great. Like, that's her life, and I love her. But also the casting of Manny Jacinto. Because we know him from The Good Place. We know him as that guy, and so we meet him as kind of the Star Wars version of that guy, and oh, look at him, never saw it coming. So I started talking to you, Christopher, and you told me that he was quoting the Sith Code, and I was like, God damn it.
Yeah, well, my clue was the second he did that, you look just like her. I was like, oh, that's it. That's who he is. I knew it the second he did that.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a really good show, and I hope we get a season 2. But if we don't get a season 2, I would like to put out into the universe that we get an adult High Republic novel continuing the story. Adult. Because the adult High Republic novels have sex.
Steph, I keep telling you got to get back to the latest ones, because
I got 9 books I got to read between where I left off, where everybody in my mind is still alive and happy, and where you want me to be, where a lot of them are dead.
Hold on. Can I skip everything and go to the new one that I know is about Elzar and my girl Avar?
I think you have to at least read Eye of Darkness before you read Temptation of the Force. But Eye of Darkness is such a good book. Like, Phase 3 is my favorite so far of all the different Star Wars, and I can't wait for the next books to come out. But
I've got all of these 7-foot-tall blue alien romance novels to read. They're so good. By which I mean they're like porn popcorn. They're not good at all.
I feel you. I feel you. But Temptation of the Force is very good. By the way, if you're a member of our Patreon, you're reading Temptation of the Force, we are going to do a book club of that very soon in August. So get to reading if you haven't done it already. All right, y'all. Are we ready for...
Bossy. Go ahead.
Are we ready for Fuck, Marry, Kill?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Okay, so here we go. Jedi Master Vernestra Rowe, Jedi Master Indara, and Mother Anicia. Am I pronouncing her name correctly?
Anastasia.
Again, use your fucking ears when you hear people say her name.
Anastasia. I love her too.
It's like they tell you with their mouths how the name is supposed to be said.
And I'm still dumb. Still dumb bitch with a microphone.
Oh my God.
That's my brand. I'm the dumb Chris, remember?
Yeah, I've been reminded. Anyway, okay, who wants to go
But you have
first?
good hair.
It's true, he has amazing hair.
I'll go first.
Go.
Yes.
I'm gonna kill Vernestra.
Ooh.
That was quick. That came out faster
easy.
actually than I expected. I will fuck Mother Anastasia because I think that would be fun. I think that the dark magic stuff would be fun. And I would marry Andara. Because as a fellow woman who has to clean up the messes other people felt, and I feel like we could bond over that.
I feel really seen here. I agree with you with one permutation, which is I would sit Indara and Mother Anastasia down and have a very clear, well-communicated conversation about polyamory.
Yeah.
I think we would make an amazing throuple. Vernestra's dead, though.
Why is everybody killing Vern? Good lord.
Well, because to me, she's not
in a good
Vern.
light.
She's Vernestra, and she's just a cold, heartless bureaucrat.
She does come across that way.
I'm marrying Vern. There. I am.
What, because you can fix her?
Because she'll cover shit up for me and let me do bad stuff.
Okay, that's fair.
And for that reason, I'm killing Indara, because Indara's going to be like, you don't do this right. You're fucking this up. You're messing everything up. And I'm like, okay, you're dead. And yeah, and I'm going to have witch sex. A lot of it.
Yeah.
I like that we have all decided which sex is definitely on the table.
You know it's awesome.
Look, that's Jodie Turner-Smith, and that is an absolutely gorgeous woman.
She's so
fucking
pretty.
beautiful.
Completely stunning. I cannot even.
Make her storm.
She commented on one of my TikToks once, and it made my heart grow 3 sizes. It was amazing.
That is true.
It's true.
Indara isn't Luminara, Chris. What?
But they sound the same, so same vibes. Same vibes.
So I mean, I think TLDR, we like the show. We want season 2. And hopefully we'll get it. I hope. I'm praying. I want more.
Yeah.
I like it. I like the deep lore cuts. There's not a character in the show I don't like.
Yeah.
I like the show. Is it my favorite Star Wars? No. But that doesn't mean it's not a good Star Wars. It doesn't
have to be.
It's still a good Star Wars, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah. And I can't wait for more. I guess Skeleton Crew is next.
Oh, with your boyfriend Jude Law.
Yeah.
I
can't wait for that. But I have no frame of reference for that show. I know it's a Mandoverse show, what's happening. But other than that, I don't know.
I don't think they've said really anything about it. I think they're purposely keeping a lot of the plot and ideas kind of a wrap, which I respect. That's fine.
But if Hondo and Akka can please show up in that fucking show,
I know, for fuck's sake.
It's our last chance. It's our last chance for live action Hondo.
Seriously. Anyway, y'all, thank you so much for watching. Chris, where can people find you? Your amazing content.
Well, on TikTok at Boba Fett, and also on Instagram, same here. Actually, I think it's Boba Fett 83, but the link is in my bio on TikTok.
Cool.
Boba Fett, all one word.
Yeah.
Would recommend 10 out of 10. Awesome content creator. And I love her, so there you go. Steph, do you want to outro us?
Yeah, I remember how to do this. Hey, everybody in the chat and everybody who's watching this later, thanks for watching. We appreciate that a whole lot. If you want to hang out with us in between Unleashed episodes, you can listen to our podcast, Dark Side Divas, where we are watching through the entire Star Wars visual story in chronological order. We are currently in season 2 of Rebels, if that gives you an idea of how far we've come. And how far we have to go. They keep putting out new content, and we're never going to watch the original trilogy at this rate. Like, we will grow old and die first. Anyway, so Dark Side Divas, that's the podcast where you can listen to us do this every week about the Star Wars. We also have a Star Trek podcast called Holodeck Divas, where we're going through Star Trek in release order, because chronological order doesn't work because those bitches time travel. But those are our podcasts. Also, you can find us on all of the social medias as at Darkside Divas.
Yeah, and y'all, our podcasts are pretty much on every major platform, so if you can go check that out. Thank you so much for those of you all that have been going on our Star Trek journey on the Holodeck Divas side. We just broke our download records this week, Steph, and
oh wow,
I don't know if this was the one to break the record, considering what we talked about, but you know what? It's fine. It's fine.
Hate gets more listens. It just
does. I know. Anyway, y'all, thank you so much for watching. We'll talk to you later.
It's true. We love you. Bye. And the live and the